And Gareth spotted the first trap. Hot off the press is a video that covers a summary of the blueprinting exercise, so I'll let you listen to it.
The NHS Global Digital Exemplar, or GDE programme, aims to create a group of NHS trusts that use digital technologies to drive transformational change in the way care is organised and delivered. By demonstrating the art of the possible and then sharing their learning through a common process, the GDE trusts will accelerate the speed at which other NHS providers can improve operational efficiency. The GDE programme is not just about upgrading or introducing technology. It's about replicable service change centred on improving patient safety and quality, improving clinical outcomes, and improving the working environment for staff. To enable this, we need clear definitions of what works and the environment in which it works. We call these definitions blueprints. A blueprint is a compendium of information and knowledge and an associated common methodology for using this information. It explains to others how a GDE trust has achieved some real benefits and improvements. Blueprints will help other NHS trusts to use their digital capabilities more quickly and cost effectively than has been possible in the past. The standard blueprinting methodology will be publicly available, and a significant number of blueprints will be developed over the coming years. Using digital technology to deliver services has already demonstrated real improvements for both patients and staff, and many of these improvements have helped people to become more active in managing their own health. The NHS Global Digital Exemplar Blueprinting Programme, supporting transformational change across the NHS.
Right, so you'll see from that video that we are looking to make this a very live and dynamic service from the GDEs and any other organisation that has good practice, best practice eventually to contribute to it. And I come from Wirral, I'm one of the GDEs, and we would expect to have to produce a blueprint for our sister hospital in Chester, but also to major on certain aspects of what we think we've done well and what other people regard as important lessons learned. So it's a framework, it's a user-insured set of products and services that you'll be able to access, and it's over 2 phases. We've been in the pilot phase, and as you saw at the end of the video, we've been working with Health Catalyst, Brendan, our chair for the morning, and Mike, and we've had John from Freshwater, I'm not sure he's here, who's working on the comms side, and PwC have also been helping with the sites. So this is one view of the dimensions of a blueprint. The idea that we have different audiences and we need to construct messages that will allow a chief executive or a board member or a CIO or an implementation team at the right level of detail for them. We'd look at digital capabilities like prescribing or order communications and how that builds up to service a care pathway and how it operates in a care setting. Everything from in the future as the ambulance GDs take part from the ambulance to A&E through to acute medicine or in mental health. And also how the infrastructure, the capability of the organisation and its readiness will determine where they are in which blueprints they might want to pick up and use in their own particular digital roadmap. So we formed our steering committee, sort of willing volunteers mostly, and we have been through 4 exercises with pilots in Cambridge, the Royal Liverpool and Broad Green, who unfortunately can't make it here, but there's material you can pick up from that blueprint, Luton and Dunstable, and Birmingham. And Birmingham will be presenting straight after this slot, and you can see Cambridge later in the day, and Luton and Dunstable tomorrow. And so it's a specific structure that we'll use, which I'll get onto in a minute. So we're kind of now between the early pilot and the full implementation stage, and we're looking to look at how we can scale the tool so that it can be used across more sites and across more subjects. We're looking at further workshops, particularly with mental health colleagues, and there is one today around lunchtime, which will be hosted by the program team. So if you want to get involved in understanding and getting involved in that workshop, then it's a great opportunity today. So we've got a further set of engagements, including a session at the Digital Health CCIO Summer School, where again we'll be trying to engage with anybody who wants to get involved, either as a consumer or as a contributor, to be part of the blueprinting process. We also will be talking about how do we prioritize which bits of that Rubik's Cube do we need to build first. Is it the framework? Is it the individual elements? Is it the leading edge or the basics that we need to focus on? And that's part of the ongoing discussion around how we define the whole scope of the ongoing blueprinting program. And we're also planning to go out to contract to create the service that will deliver the blueprints in the longer term. So I think we as a steering group really need to thank the pilot sites who've worked this through. And I know, and the folk who will speak later, I'm sure will tell you, it isn't it's quite a significant amount of work. Yes, they're nodding. There is a lot to go back through, think about what you were doing at the time, why you were headed down on this particular direction, and where you've ended up, and some of where you might want to go next. So this timeline comes from the Liverpool's e-sepsis blueprint and starts from the case that was built through to spreading the innovation and learning. And on the website as we envisage it, you can click into the decision points, to the documentation that was used as the project progressed, so you can have real examples that you can then lift and adapt to your own purposes for whatever it is in terms of reference of a committee or a standard operating procedure, whatever has been contributed into that blueprint. So it's not without cost to the GDEs to actually produce, but it is something that we will have hopefully a very evenly constructed, structured way of accessing these things at those various levels I mentioned before. So we're mocking up and having reviews of the potential portal for the blueprints, how that would look and feel, how do you search through them, can you tag things for updates later, all of those kind of features you'd expect in this kind of platform. In terms of the prioritization, we're looking to our national policy leads. The recent announcements around electronic prescribing being a priority might lead us to think about that as a priority for blueprinting, but also what is it that hospitals and mental health trusts and so on are looking to do, and what's most current in terms of learning, and who are key stakeholders. Ian and Kate, who are part of the project team, have been building a communications plan around all of this, because we have been quite quiet, I think, and it's now time to start talking in earnest about all of this. So, if we're trying to prioritize these blueprints, our thoughts are a third of it should be on the outcome of the thing that we're blueprinting, a third on its currency and relevance, and the third on the aspects of readiness. To what degree is the place that wants to produce the blueprint ready to do so? So it's about feasibility, I guess. So we'll be working through that schema to get to a point where, as we get to those individual parts of the Rubik's Cube, we can score them as to where we put our effort first. And this is an ongoing thing. Nothing in our world stays still for very long, so we will be looking to align it execute it and then measure the effect of the blueprints, hopefully doing what they're supposed to, which is helping you avoid the mistakes that some of us have made, and to rapidly access the stuff that will help you progress. And our next steps, which I think I've covered reasonably well, are, we're coming out to the summer school. We're talking to John Huxmer about using the CIO discourse platform to have a conversation about all of this. And we're here today and tomorrow. You can come and talk to us about any particular aspect I have not made clear. I'm sure there's many, or that you won't have picked up during the days. But this is the next steps. So I wanted to go through it relatively quickly, just about on time. So do we want to take questions, or shall we move on? No one with their hands up.